I'm back again, sharpish, with some more Starfield secrets for us to collectively enjoy together. It hasn't even been a week since, well actually no, it has been bang on a week as of recording this narration since I posted that Starfield secrets video, and as it turns out, there are way more than simply 10. And since that last video did kind of well, like any self-respecting soulless content creator, it makes sense to dive down the rabbit hole and do the same video again, but with 10 entirely different secrets from this game. And you never know, there might be enough for another one of these in the not too distant future. So you know the drill, we all like game secrets and finding things hidden in video games. It's fun. It could be an Easter egg, it can be something cool, but the main takeaway is that you enjoy finding it, and the fact that it's there indicates some degree of care and attention from the developer's side that I honestly cherish. It certainly won't absolve a game of every flaw that it might have, but it adds character to the mix. And that is perhaps the most important aspect for a game to not fade into obscurity in about 3 weeks. So, with the ramble handled, here are 10 secrets in Starfield, Part 2. Remember, if you happen to know a secret and don't wish to revisit something you know about, you can use the timestamps in the description to skip to the parts of the video that are relevant to you. You can also use it as a reference sheet to figure out if the video is even worth your time, and please do, it is not there for fun. Well, I mean, it kind of is, but you get what I'm trying to say. But anyway, let's begin. So we all know that time is a construct that allows us to understand the passage between one moment and the next, and we measure it by how long it takes for the Earth to spin on its axis, and that somehow got measured as 24 hours. I don't know how hours, minutes, and seconds have been explained and what their significance is necessarily. Scientifically speaking, I understand timekeeping. Well, other planets spin at different speeds, and Starfield actually understands this. So the waiting time that you're allowed to perform on one planet depends on that planet's time rather than the Earth time, though it tells you how many Earth hours pass. On Venus, a day takes a very long time, and without getting into the science, because it'll only confuse us when it isn't necessarily accurately applied, for every hour we wait, 100 hours in universal time will pass, allowing us to wait 2,400 hours a pop, which means we only have to wait 24 hours on Venus 4 times for an entire in-game year to pass, and then a little bit on top. I'm yet to see somewhere that displays an actual date, but if you go to the general tab of your stats, you can see how many days have passed since you began your journey. So if you ever want to kill time, the quickest way is to come to Venus. Besides that, the information is rather pointless. Strap in everyone, because there are more Earth landmarks to discover, and I'm going to stagger these so we don't spend the entire video on Earth. But to find this particular one, the easiest way is to first head to Saturn's moon Titan to the city of New Homestead, and once here you'll need to head over to the museum. After a quick scan of the room, we will find a book on a metallic shelf next to the staircase. This is Maurice Leon's journal, and it mentions a scan showing a glimmer on the ancient site of Hong Kong. Picking up this book will unlock the activity of visiting the Hong Kong landmark on Earth, so that will now be marked as somewhere that we can land. I'm not awfully familiar with Hong Kong, but it appears to be the International Commerce Centre, a 484 metre tall, 106 storey skyscraper. I think it's fair to say it's rather sizable. Of course, there will be a marker prompting us to approach the building where we will find a Hong Kong snow globe, and that is of course very nice. There appears to be one next to every landmark remaining on Earth's surface, and I'd personally love to know who's actually leaving them there. And next up we have another landmark that is also on Earth. The most reliable way to find the book that provides us with the marker is to head to Parima 2 in the Parima system, where we can board a strange ship called the ECS Constant, which is a human vessel that set off from Earth long before the world ended, and the people on it are the offspring of the offspring of the offspring of the people who set off on that vessel. So think of it as like a vault from Fallout, but in space. In the classroom area you can find a copy of the Essentials of Modern Macroeconomics, which allows us to visit the Shanghai Landmark, which is of course the 632 metre tall, 128 storey Shanghai Tower. If you thought the last one looked imposing against the lifeless desert that Earth has become in the Starfield universe, this one does more so. The marker once you land here will lead you again to a snow globe, and either you both won the lottery and got struck by lightning on the same day, or somebody's actually placing these snow globes on Earth for some reason. As is the case with most Earth landmarks in this game, the science behind it being the thing that likely survives against a backdrop of complete desolation aside, it's a cool discovery. For our next thing, we need to head to Constellation's Lodge in New Atlantis on the planet Jemison in the Alpha Centauri system, and while I feel as if this is a joke hidden in plain sight, it does require a touch of imagination. And that is an ornate scroll holder held against a copy of Great Expectations, which can be found on a shelf in the Lodge's upstairs bar. This could be a nod to Bethesda anticipating that fan expectation for the Elder Scrolls 6 is going to be through the roof, because let's face it, of course it is. Though if the discourse around Starfield is to be believed, there are plenty of people who will claim to have no expectations, but that's limited mostly to Twitter and Metacritic, and life is too short to pay attention to either. Anyway, if this is an intentional joke, I'll give Bethesda Game Studios top marks for that one. Now please don't make that game shit. While we're still in the lodge, if we head down to the basement, we may find this cabinet with a spacesuit inside. It's a master lock, so it's quite hard to pick, and the game won't even let you unless your skill level in that tree is to a particular degree. But if you line up your cursor just right, you can bypass the door and get the gear quite easily. So at least until it gets patched out, it's an easy way to get some better gear quite early. But it does compromise that statement I made before we got going. It probably shouldn't be possible, it just kind of is. For secret number 6, there is an Easter egg hidden in the Starfield potatoes. It may seem like an object you can find relatively commonly, but when you're actively going out of your way to look for them, every potato in the game will despawn. That's the rule of games. The Easter egg is of course in the potatoes description, where it reads, can be prepared many ways. Boiled, mashed, used in a stew, the recipes are nearly limitless. Which is of course how Samwise Gamgee explains potatoes to Gollum in Lord of the Rings. We have another Easter egg for secret number 7. So, when you purchase a home, you'll probably notice that in order for it to feel like home, you might want to furnish it. One of the options in furnishing is putting up posters, one of which is this Blue Harvest poster. Blue Harvest was the fake working production title for Star Wars Return of the Jedi, in order to disguise the project as a horror film with the tagline Horror Beyond Imagination, which is not far off how I'd describe Star Wars these days, but there was going to be a nod to Star Wars in this game somewhere, wasn't there? But this one does get deeper. The title Blue Harvest was used as a parody of Red Harvest, a novel published by Dashiell Hammett, the plot of which has been used in some high-profile productions. And Red Harvest is presented as a brand. It's like the in-universe version of Nestle. For secret number 8, in Cydonia on Mars, we can find a familiar face. It's a face, or at least a mould of a face, with the title Face on Mars, clearly referencing this photograph of the Cydonia region of Mars taken by the Viking 1 orbiter released on the 25th of July 1976. The image shows a land formation that appears to depict a face. The plaque can be interacted with, giving us this description that does effectively state that even in the Starfield universe, the face on Mars is little more than a land formation. But it's clearly a cool nod to real exploration that has occurred regarding Mars. I like actual nods to things that have happened or appear to have happened in reality. It gives me that nice, warm feeling while exploring space. For our 9th secret, whilst exploring space, you may randomly happen upon a spaceship that appears to be singing a sea shanty.
As I wander the blackness of the deep abyss, my ship is in tatters, all dented and worn, but I trust my old engine to get back by morn. Way oh, out in the blackness, way oh, out in the void, way. Always happy to meet a stranger. Hope my singing was to your liking. It is, at that. If you believe the family tales, we've been merchantmen and freighter captains since the days of the East India Company. If you like my singing, you should have heard my pops. Now he had a voice. Oh, and now you've made mine. Afraid my ship's got the next jump plotted in, so I'm away. Fair travels.
And as quickly as that, the Valentine will jump away and disappear. Space shanties. Who knew you needed them? Our 10th secret of the day brings us to the eye above Jemison in the Alpha Centauri system for something that's a little bit more somber, but above all else, it's touching. It's here where in one of the panoramic corridors we will find a bench, and on it is a note, titled Alex Hayes' Note. It reads as follows. To all my friends and fellow explorers, I'm always with you, out there in the Starfield. Love always, Alex Hay. If this note's straightforward sincerity got your attention, that's because Alex Hay was a real person. He was, just like many of us, anticipating Starfield, but tragically passed away from lung cancer before the game released. In wake of news of his passing, many on the Starfield subreddit would flood the forum with pledges to honour Alex Hay in their playthroughs by naming a ship or character after him. I think this note makes it clear that Bethesda wanted to do the same. May Captain Hay rest in peace. And that brings us to the end of today's video. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to use the comment section to let me know about other secrets in this game that you would like to see covered in a prospective part 3. I know of a handful, including yet more Earth landmarks, but it's always good to get your input too. But besides that, there's really not an awful lot to say, so thanks again for watching this video, and hopefully I'll be seeing you all very soon with another video at some point, but until next time, take care and goodbye.